Goodbye Henry Cavill, and hello second most famous Hemsworth brother. The Witcher Season 3 Part 2 has arrived with all the daughter-marrying, sword-breaking action we've come to expect. In this video we'll be taking a deep dive into Part 2, its connection to the books without spoilers, and stay tuned till the end of the video to see how the writers are going to transition from Cavill to Hemsworth. I've left timestamps below so you can see all the topics I'll be covering. The season's final episode is called The Cost of Chaos, and the word chaos here has a double meaning. In the world of The Witcher, chaos is the source of which magic is harnessed, and it's chaos that has now overtaken the continent after the events of the Thanedd Coup. At the end of Part 1, we saw head of Redanian intelligence Sigismund Dijkstra hold Geralt at knife point as the Brotherhood Conclave descended in an all-out power grab between two rival parties. Essentially, you have Vilgefortz and the supporters of Nilfgaard, including the Scoia'tael led by Francesca, versus Sigismund and the Northern Kingdoms, with the mages choosing different sides themselves. But perhaps the biggest betrayal comes from Vilgefortz himself, who turns against his lover Tissaia, revealing she was merely a pawn in his grand plans.
I have my own aims, and they no longer include you.
I don't want to play with you anymore.
This betrayal ends with her nearly killing herself by using Alzur's Thunder, an extremely powerful and difficult spell to defend Aretuza from its invaders. Although she survives the coup, the hurt of her lover's betrayal, heartbreak, failure to protect the Brotherhood, and her own guilt leads her to suicide. In a letter to Yennefer, she states that the use of chaos always comes with a price, and for what she did, she must pay.
There is a cost I must pay.
The Thanedd Coup also sees Geralt face off against the sorcerer Vilgefortz, who, up until this point, has been hiding the extent of his power.
Know what the hardest part was? Holding.
Although he gives Geralt one last chance to join Nilfgaard, Geralt denies him, leading to an absolutely brutal fight scene that sees Geralt get decimated. In fact, Vilgefortz's staff is so powerful that it shatters Geralt's sword, but oddly enough, Vilgefortz lets Geralt live, both to teach him a lesson and as a warning to others. This is where we begin the final episode, with Geralt recovering in Brokilon Forest under the watchful eye of the Dryad Queen Ithne. It's here we'll also be introduced to Milva, one of the few non-dryads tolerated in Brokilon and who will eventually join Geralt on his journey. The waters of Brokilon are said to possess magical healing properties, but they are not successful on Geralt as the waters are only meant for natural beings and he's considered a mutant. Yennefer will later arrive and use magic to speed up the healing process, something that does not happen in the book. Along with Geralt is Jaskier, who had his heart broken by Prince Radovid, who was using him to get to Ciri, even though he says his feelings for the bard were true. Radovid will eventually become King of Redania after the sudden assassination of his elder brother, King Vizimir, putting his plans to prove to Jaskier that his feelings for him are true on hold. In the books, Radovid is actually Vizimir's son, but they've changed it to brother in the show. Vizimir was assassinated by a character named Eva, who we had seen intimate with Philippa Eilhart. This assassination was entirely orchestrated by Philippa to install a new, easier to control king, but it also had the added benefit of saving Dijkstra, who was going to kill himself as payment for him and Philippa's failure at Thanedd. The Thanedd Coup also saw Ciri escape both Vilgefortz, Reince, and Cahir's clutches. Cahir you may remember as the Nilfgaardian soldier who kidnapped Ciri way back in Season 1, but has since learned the error of his ways.
I've discovered I was wrong.
He offers his life to her, but after he's spared, vows to find her and proceeds to defend her against a band of encroaching Scoia'tael. Then there's Reince, who's made quick work of by Geralt. In the book, Reince ends up pursuing Ciri and drowning in a frozen lake where Ciri runs over his fingers with ice skates. His fingers being cut off by Ciri in the show is a nod to this, and I can't help but wonder if Yennefer teaching Ciri how to skate in Part 1 was a setup for this, but due to time and budget, Reince's death had to be rewritten. Finally, there's Vilgefortz, who before pursuing Ciri retrieves the Book of Monoliths, a book that may hold the key to traveling between worlds. You may recall these monoliths are the tall black stone-like structures found throughout the continent. We saw how Ciri's power can topple these monoliths, revealing portals to other realms, so it's no surprise Vilgefortz would want to control the girl with this unique ability. At the same time, Vilgefortz teleports Istrid through a black portal telling him, "See you soon." He could have killed Istrid, but considering he spared his life, suggests he has other plans. After Geralt's decisive loss to Vilgefortz, Vilgefortz pursues Ciri into the Tower of Tor Lara. In the books, the tower is home to Benevent's portal, a portal which, due to damage, had become unstable, leading its users to unexpected places. Many mages perished seeing where it led, thus its use was forbidden. You'll notice it doesn't look like a portal, rather a giant monolith, similar to the smaller ones we've seen before. We also know Ciri has the ability to smash these monoliths, creating portals, which seems to be the case here. But before she unlocks its power, Vilgefortz entices Ciri to become his pupil, and together they could change the continent. And change is definitely something Ciri wants.
I think I have the power to change things.
But change with a power-hungry mage whose intentions aren't necessarily clear? Probably not. Her connection with the portal is so strong, it essentially causes the entire tower to implode, teleporting her to the Korath Desert, a desert located to the east of Nilfgaard. Vilgefortz's status isn't known until the final episode, where we can see he sustains serious injuries to his face, including the loss of an eye. At the same time, the Emperor of Nilfgaard has declared that he has found Ciri, and she is to take her rightful place on the throne. This is an imposter, known in the books as Cirilla Fiona or False Ciri. The show doesn't tell us if the Emperor knows of this deception, but given it was Vilgefortz who brought forth this girl and that he likely thinks Ciri was killed in that explosion at Tor Lara, I'm inclined to believe the Emperor really thinks this is his daughter, which would be a departure from the book. You may also remember this false Ciri as Taryn, the girl Geralt saved from Vulpane Castle, who was experimented on by Vilgefortz and brainwashed or mind-controlled into thinking she was Ciri. A union between Ciri and the Emperor strengthens his claim to the throne in Cintra and makes his takeover of the north easier, with several armies with allegiances to Cintra now having to fight alongside Nilfgaard. In a quick scene between Yennefer and Cratch an Crate, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, he explains that if Ciri joins Nilfgaard, he and the people of Skellige, due to their allegiance, will have to follow suit.
If Ciri's siding with Nilfgaard, we're obliged to join.
At the same time, Fringilla and Francesca make their own play. Fringilla wants to be Imperial Governor of Zentria, and Francesca free to lead her people, but the Emperor still needs her army of Scoia'tael to fight in the north, and she is basically forced to agree. Now, Fringilla wants to get the hell out of Nilfgaard. Remember, she was imprisoned and forced to drink wine to see if it had poison in it, but she won't exactly be welcomed by the north for her prior allegiance with the Emperor. So she devises a plan to kidnap Ciri at the ceremony, but Francesca has given in to her fate and doesn't want to risk losing what she's already got. That's when Fringilla drops the bomb that it was the Emperor that had her baby killed, the baby she thought was killed by Redania. Understandably, Francesca is pissed that Fringilla had been keeping this news from her, so it'll be interesting to see how these two plan on leaving Nilfgaard and if they'll devise a plan to take down the Emperor. There's also the interesting aspect that Francesca knows what the real Ciri looks like. She saw her at the Battle of Sharawet. This vital piece of information could create new directions the story could go when she sees that the Ciri on the throne is an imposter. And just a reminder before we continue, if you like these types of videos, be sure to like and subscribe. Every little bit helps the channel out. Geralt's arc this season is all about making a choice. Up until this point, Geralt, as well as many of the Witchers, have adopted a neutral stance in the affairs of others. In episode 5, both Vilgefortz and Dijkstra try to sway him to their side, but he refuses. The physical manifestation of this is Renfri's cloak brooch from season 1, something he keeps attached to the hilt of his sword as a reminder not to become involved in conflicts between humans. The last time he got involved was when he stood in the way of Renfri's quest to murder Stregobor, which ended in Geralt killing her. So at the end of the season, when Geralt lets go of this brooch and kills a bunch of Nilfgaardian soldiers, it's a metaphor for him letting go of his neutrality. He'll take any side as long as it means protecting Ciri. He's realized that remaining neutral is futile, as destiny always finds a way.
I've always tried to stay above the fray, and life always finds a way to force my hand.
After her journey through the desert, Ciri finds herself captured by a slaver known as Scomil, and is taken to the town of Gliswin to the west of the Korath Desert. There she meets a fellow captive by the name of Kaylee, who is a member of a group of ne'er-do-wells known as the Rats. This group comes to their aid, and among them is Missile, the same girl who we met in episode 3 this season who stole Ciri's money. Now, Ciri's given the opportunity to kill her captor, and this is both her first human kill if you don't count when she was is under the effects of Volithmir and marks her transition to Falka, the same name of the woman she received visions from in the desert. Falka was a fire mage who, like Ciri, was a girl forgotten by her family trying to recover her throne. But Falka was a ruthless woman who murdered her own father and started a rebellion. She'd do whatever she needed to get what she wanted. This gave her the reputation of being a cursed elven demon. In a grim warning, Falka tells Ciri that those she loves will betray her, and to them she's nothing but a pawn. And at the end of the episode, when the rats ask her what her name is, she responds, Falka, implying that she may be going down the same ruthless path that the original Falka trod. It's also smart for her to use an alias since the entire continent is looking for her. With Ciri still on the run, we see Yennefer writing a letter to Geralt that her mission next season is to create a quote safe world for Ciri to return to while Geralt heads to Nilfgaard alongside Jaskier and Milva in his quest to find Ciri. But this still leaves us with a big question mark on how the show is going to transition from Henry Cavill playing Geralt to Liam Hemsworth. The producers have already said this change will be, quote, very meta, meaning something that is abstract or can be analyzed at a higher level beyond the subject matter of the show itself. So we won't be seeing anything kind of superficial like multiple dimensions or magic to explain this change. Knowing how Geralt changed from a man of neutrality to one of choosing sides fits this meta understanding. My guess is that when season 4 begins, the story will take right off with Liam, who will still be playing Geralt, but now as a Geralt who has done away with his code of neutrality. The old Geralt is dead, on with the new. As showrunner Lauren Schmidt-Hissrich told Entertainment Weekly, quote, Geralt has a new mission in mind when we come back to him in season 4. He's a slightly different Geralt than we expected, end quote. This mission is to find Ciri, neutrality be damned. But what do you think of this change? Is it a cop-out or a fitting way to change the character? Let me know what you think and what you thought about the season in the comments below. Thanks for watching, please be sure to like and subscribe, and for more bad takes you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at ThinkStoryYT. Until next time, remember,
Fuck.